In our hyperconnected, always-on world, boredom feels like the ultimate enemy, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's that uncomfortable pause, maybe a signal of inefficiency, or just a waste of time we desperately try to fill.
Yeah, we're constantly bombarded. Phones, social media, streaming, endless stuff.
It feels like we're almost hardwired now to avoid doing nothing. But here's a thought. What if I told you that the very thing we avoid, this state of doing nothing, is actually, well, fundamental, maybe even beneficial? What if you need to be bored?
You've perfectly captured the core paradox we're diving into today. It really challenges that ingrained aversion we have to quiet, to stillness. Our source material, La Importancia del Aburrimiento, the importance of boredom, it goes deep into why this seemingly negative state is actually a crucial catalyst.
A catalyst for what,
For
exactly?
so much good, really. Our mission today is to unpack let's say, the science and philosophy behind boredom, explore how it can spark innovation, improve mental well-being, personal growth, precisely because it pushes back against this constant stimulation. So you can expect, hopefully, a balanced view, maybe some surprising insights, and perhaps a totally fresh look at how we view boredom.
Right. Let's unpack this then. We throw the word bored around a lot, but what does it really mean?
Good question.
Because I've definitely had moments with, nothing scheduled, but I wasn't necessarily bored. There's a difference, isn't there? Like, staring out the window feeling peaceful isn't the same as feeling restless.
That's a crucial distinction.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Our source defines boredom as a state of low emotional arousal.
Okay, low arousal.
Yeah, meaning you're not feeling particularly strongly either way, but it's accompanied by discomfort.
Yeah.
And you perceive a lack of significant stimulation or purpose in what you're doing right then.
Ah, the discomfort part is key.
Exactly. It's not just an absence of action, like that peaceful pause you mentioned. It's more like a signal from your brain.
A signal.
Yeah, a signal indicating a need for change or maybe exploration. Think of it as your brain nudging you, sometimes gently, sometimes not so gently, saying, hey, time for something new.
And the digital age makes this worse or different.
Oh, totally different. That's the paradox, isn't it? Constant access to entertainment, social media, information. It actually makes true boredom quite scarce.
We fill every single gap.
We do, every microsecond. And this scarcity, ironically, might actually limit our creative potential because our minds never get that chance to truly reset, to wander properly.
So intentional inactivity, letting yourself be bored, isn't laziness?
Not at all. It's about letting the mind replenish its reserves. Attention, motivation, things that foster long-term productivity and focus. We often miss that in the rush for the next quick hit of stimulation.
It feels like our natural instinct is just avoid, avoid, avoid boredom, push it away.
It really does.
Yet our sources are presenting this fascinating idea, almost a paradox, that this state we run from might actually make us, well, smarter, more creative. How does that connection even work? It seems so counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
it's really interesting neurologically.
I mean, who hasn't had a great idea just pop into their head while, washing dishes or staring blankly at something?
Exactly. And what's happening there, according to the science, is that boredom stimulates the brain's default mode network.
Okay, the default mode network. What's that?
Think of it as your brain's internal processing unit. It's a set of brain regions that become highly active precisely when you're not focused on an external demanding task.
So when you're not concentrating hard on something specific.
Right. It might feel like daydreaming,
Right.
but it's not just idle drifting. This network facilitates mind wandering, reflection, and crucially, it helps generate associative ideas. It lets your brain make connections it might not make when it's overloaded.
Like connecting dots in the background.
Perfectly put. And the source points to specific research. Participants who did boring tasks first actually generated more creative ideas on subsequent tests compared to those who did stimulating activities.
Wow. So boredom acts like an incubator.
Exactly. An incubation period for those little embryonic ideas. It lets them develop quietly. It literally helps decongest a mind that's overloaded with information, which in turn improves attention and problem solving later on.
That makes sense. Clearing the decks.
Yeah. And there's a deeper layer too, almost philosophical. Our source suggests boredom can sometimes reveal an inherent emptiness.
That sounds a bit bleak.
It can feel that way initially, but it doesn't have to be negative. It's not a void to fear necessarily, but maybe an opportunity. It can be the catalyst that makes you stop and think, what actually matters to me?
Yeah.
Pushing you towards more meaningful goals.
Okay, so it boosts our brains, sparks creativity, but boredom often feels, well, frustrating, right? Restless.
Definitely. It's not always comfortable.
But could this seemingly negative state actually be a secret weapon for our emotional resilience, our mental well-being? Can putting up with a bit of boredom actually make us feel better overall?
Absolutely. The source is quite clear on this. Normalizing boredom, just accepting it as a common human experience, is positively linked with greater overall well-being.
And fighting it makes it worse.
Exactly. People who really detest boredom, who actively fight it, often intensify its negative effects. It can feed into anxiety or even depressive symptoms. When you resist it, it tends to loom larger.
Huh. So leaning into it helps.
It does. Think of it as a mechanism for brain rest. We live in this constant information age, right? Our minds are processing all the time. They get fatigued.
Like a mental burnout?
Precisely. Boredom provides that essential pause, that downtime your mental batteries need to recharge. Plus, it plays a big role in motivation.
How so?
Well, when old goals or activities start feeling stale, lose their meaning, boredom can be that uncomfortable nudge you need to seek out something new, something more fulfilling. It fuels personal growth.
So it helps us adapt.
Yes. For adults, this can mean greater emotional resilience. You learn to navigate life's lulls and challenges with a bit more calm. And for kids, it's huge. It helps them develop self-esteem, self-regulation skills. Basically, learning to manage their internal state without needing constant external entertainment.
This sounds particularly crucial for the next generation. They're growing up even more connected than we did.
It really is vital.
I remember as a kid, my parents saying, go find something to do. I'd grumble at first.
We all did.
Yeah. But then, almost like magic, I'd end up building some amazing fort or inventing a whole game in the backyard. It sounds like our sources are validating exactly those boring moments. What specifically does the source say about boredom for kids and teens?
You've nailed it. For children and adolescents, experiencing and coping with boredom is incredibly valuable developmentally. The source emphasizes it fosters creativity, planning skills, problem solving.
The foundations, really.
Absolutely. Essential cognitive and emotional building blocks. When kids have periods of unstructured time just in activity, they develop greater independence and flexibility. It's a direct antidote to those overscheduled lives many kids have now.
Where every minute is planned out.
Right. And for example, allowing a child to be bored basically teaches them to generate their own ideas. Building scenarios with toys, making up stories, figuring out a new game. That whole process strengthens their self-esteem. It reduces their dependence on constant external input, makes them more resourceful.
So what's the practical advice then? Just let them be bored.
Pretty much, within reason. The source suggests maybe having lists of collaborative activities they could choose from if they're really stuck, but, and this is crucial, avoid jumping in immediately to solve their boredom for them.
Let them figure it out.
Yes. Give them the space and time to explore solutions themselves. Now, it's worth noting, the source does mention that persistent extreme boredom can sometimes be linked to things like ADHD. But for most kids, in moderate doses, boredom is a healthy sign. It shows their mind is active and seeking engagement.
Okay, so the benefits clearly ripple outwards beyond just our own individual minds. What does this deep dive tell us about boredom's impact on, say, our relationships, or even our bigger understanding of the world? Are there social, even philosophical sides to this?
Definitely. If you zoom out, the impact goes beyond the individual. Socially, our source suggests boredom can actually promote deeper connections.
How does that work? Seems like being bored might make you withdraw.
You might think so, but consider this. When you're not constantly distracted by your phone or thinking about the next show to stream, you're more likely to seek out genuine interaction, meaningful conversation.
Ah, quality over quantity.
Exactly. You're looking for substance, not just fleeting contact. It nudges you towards being truly present with other people, and philosophically, gets even more profound.
Go on.
Well, think about some Eastern traditions. They often view boredom not as this negative void, but potentially as a gateway.
A gateway to what?
To higher consciousness, perhaps, or at least to mindfulness, to accepting the present moment, even if it's quiet or uneventful, shifting the perception from, I'm bored, to just being present, finding richness in the nothingness.
Finding something in the nothing.
Precisely. And interestingly, the source also hints that boring or quiet environments might actually be ideal for creation. They help connect you with the natural rhythms, a deeper sense of self that often gets drowned out by noise. Think of all the great thinkers or artists who needed solitude and quiet.
That makes a lot of sense. Retreating to allow the mind to wander.
Yeah.
This all sounds incredibly powerful. Like, why aren't we all embracing boredom? But let's be real, actually allowing ourselves to be bored in today's world.
Yeah.
It feels really hard, maybe impossible sometimes. Why is it so difficult for us?
You're absolutely right. It's not easy. And the source outlines several key hurdles. First and foremost, there's the sheer uh, addiction to digital stimulation.
That constant dopamine hit.
Exactly. We're so used to instant gratification, the buzz of a notification, constant input, that voluntarily disconnecting feels incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Our brains are literally wired now to seek novelty, that next ping.
It takes real effort to resist.
It does. And there's an important caveat, too. The source mentions that in situations of high stress, chronic boredom, like ongoing inescapable boredom, can actually make things worse. It can exacerbate existing mental health issues if it's not balanced by positive beliefs or coping strategies.
So there's a difference between productive boredom and something else.
Yes, a crucial difference. Productive boredom sparks creativity, but pathological boredom is more chronic, stagnant, disruptive. That's the kind that can unfortunately lead to risky behaviors, procrastination, substance abuse, things like that. It's not the creative kind.
Okay, that's an important distinction.
And culturally, there's another big challenge, getting parents, educators, even ourselves, to just tolerate boredom, especially in children. We feel this intense pressure to entertain kids constantly, right?
Oh, yeah. The guilt if they say I'm bored.
Exactly. Instead of seeing it as an opportunity for them to develop their own inner resources, we rush in with solutions. We limit their chance for autonomous learning.
So overcoming all this,
Mm-hmm.
it requires conscious effort.
Definitely. It demands intentional strategies. Things like practicing mindfulness, just consciously being present in the moment, even if it feels dull, setting clear boundaries with technology. It's about deliberately making space for inactivity, not just passively waiting for it to maybe happen.
So what we've explored today really suggests boredom isn't this void to be feared or frantically filled. Maybe it's more like a surprising ally.
I think that's a great way to put it. An ally for creativity, for mental well-being, for personal growth.
It seems it's about more than just surviving our hyper-connected world. It's about actually thriving within it, perhaps in a quieter way, but simply allowing your mind that space to wander, to rest, to reflect. You might just find yourself living a richer, more meaningful life. Our sources even suggest something practical, dedicating maybe 15 to 30 minutes a day to intentional inactivity, just letting the mind be.
Just carving out that space.
Yeah. Imagine the possibilities if we actually did that regularly.
Which really leads to a fascinating question, doesn't it? In a world that constantly demands our attention, that values productivity, output speed above almost everything else, what hidden truths, what insights might we uncover if we consciously carved out space for the unproductive? If we truly embraced the quiet, sometimes uncomfortable, but potentially transformative spaces of boredom?